Yeah, I think to explain the concept to a 12-year-old, I think I get that. And then when it comes down to what the actual things you did, and I hear you is a whole range of things that you do in sustainability and ESG. And then when it comes down to, I hear you that Singapore plays a role in the grand scheme of things by serving as a regional hub. And I think Singapore is also a great financial center or hub, I think, to get funding. I think that's one of the reasons you said WWF had a role to play, or to, that's why he has an office in Singapore. And I think to be someone that's curious about ESG as a career, what's your one piece of advice?
In Singapore and in Asia, actually, I've had a few conversations with people that were either early on in their careers or sometimes even mid-career thinking, okay, I'm doing taxes or I'm in auditing. Can I get into ESG? Should I make a complete career, not even a pivot, it's a career change and go into and join an NGO? And my answer was actually recently is no, do not do that. Because what's really interesting and exciting about what's happening in sustainability and why Singapore is a perfect place to read those opportunities is that sustainability isn't about that NGO. And I've moved on many years from that kind of work. It's actually about translating concepts, environmental, social concepts to the bottom line. So around the world, including and especially Singapore, it's like, how does it affect your procurement? If you are, and a lot of MNCs are based in Singapore, so they'll be thinking about procuring raw materials maybe from around the region. Procurement people actually need to think a lot about sustainability because that, especially if they want to ship to overseas markets.
Yep.
So that's one big thing. Even auditors or finance teams, actually, they have so much to think about sustainability because a lot of, again, regulations or even the banks are expected, they want their clients to predict or to better understand what is the financial impact on your business with climate change factor in the longer term. So actually finance functions, procurement functions, even legal functions, because there are so many changing regulations around ESG and sustainability in different jurisdictions around the world. Finance, procurement, legal, these are top industries in Singapore. Everybody, I see a lot of my peers also in these industries having to think about, okay, ESG is an important thing to consider. How does that factor into my work? So making the transition into a career in sustainability and ESG, I don't think it's a big change, and you certainly don't have to drop everything. I think it's about thinking about how is that affecting your industry. So for me, I was in communications. I was not always talking about sustainability or ESG, but it was just because it's become such a pertinent conversation globally and with companies, governments, and even the public. It became something that I was interested in and eventually specialized in. So I see that happening in a lot of industries.
Yeah, without giving specific names, maybe if you can walk me through what you did with one of the ex-clients you had on communications and ESG, I think that would be helpful.
Okay. Is there any particular?
I know I threw you off guard here, but I know something that you want to share with the audience of a success story, what you help, how you help in terms of communications in this ESG space. It could be something you've done as a PR agency or something that, or a comms agency, or it could be something that you did at WWF. Or even now, is there any
Well,
clients you're helping now? Who's your ideal client that you want to help in your consultancy now?
actually, maybe I can talk about the work now because that's something that is live
Yeah.
for me. I'm
Yeah.
always interested
Yeah.
in that. And I think a huge opportunity if you're talking about sustainability and communications is not just for companies to lift up a banner and go, I'm so green, I'm committed to net zero. So that period of businesses making those big promises is over. And I think the focus right now with a lot of companies and industries, actually the challenge that they're facing is how do you deliver on the goals? You made a promise, it made the media headlines a few years back, and now you have to show your stakeholders and your shareholders that you are living up to the challenge. And I think that's one big issue that many business leaders, even government leaders, are potentially facing. So the challenge with sustainability communications that I would love to work on, and I get to work on it right now, is getting the action and getting the work going. And what's happening in a lot of industries right now is maybe if you're in your function or your industry, you're like, I need to work on sustainability, but you're like, I don't know how to start or where to start. Because sustainability, I keep using the term. If you're thinking about how you can source more sustainability, which is one of my projects right now, if I want to source something better, I can learn from other industries. I need to think about whether I can get funding from banks or development banks or other potential sources in order to do this. So there's a lot of cross-pollination of ideas that is required. There's a lot of collaboration. And one thing that somebody said to me, one of the top CSOs, Chief Sustainability Officers of the biggest industries in Asia, the Chief Sustainability Officer was saying that now we have to get, there are a lot of strange bedfellows that we have to get to know or to work with. And strange bedfellows, I think, really encapsulates what's required in sustainability to reach beyond your function, your silo, to reach even beyond your industry, to find collaborations and to find solutions, because the solutions are never very neatly, there's no solutions out there that you can buy as a package and solve a problem right away. It simply doesn't exist. So this need for collaboration and this need to find partnerships is where I think the biggest growth for sustainability is, and where communications can really make a difference in building bridges, in helping connect strange bedfellows towards shared solutions. And bringing it back to your question about what is one of the projects that I'm working on, working with stakeholders across a global industry value chain, from smallholder farmers to your trading companies, to your manufacturers, and even to the retailers, getting everybody across one industry value chain to agree on what good looks like. What does the industry look like in 10 to 15 years? What is sustainability from the industry? The question that I would ask the 12-year-olds, what do you envision your world would look like, was a question that I asked a room full of executives just 1 month ago. What does the world look like for your industry in the next 10 to 15 years? And what are you going to do with some of the risks facing your industry? So I don't think the questions that 12-year-olds are thinking about for their future is very different from a business or a chief something officer, CXO, thinking about the future. I don't think these questions are very different. The difference is that CXOs and leaders of organizations or industries have the obligation, or actually are facing the urgency, to start working on solutions to address certain risks.